Welcome to this edition of the Wonderbury podcast.
I'm Brian.
I'm Dave.
And you can find us online at wonderbury.com.
And I am D. Wonderly on Twitter.
Or I'm Brian Keysbury, anywhere the internet can be found.
You can leave us questions on our Facebook page. Check for the link in the description.
Or use the handy comment field on the website, please. Somebody use it. Somebody use it. I made it. It's fancy. The send button's still screwed up, but it's there.
Always. How was your week, man?
Not too bad. Set myself up a new aquarium.
Nice.
Yep. I'm planning to get a couple of axolotls tomorrow. Sure. Those are cute little derpy little creatures. They're going to be awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. Which I might be able to get a picture to throw up in BTS once they get in. If not,
yeah,
at least
send that to me and I'll throw it up there.
Yeah. Okay. I at least have a picture of the empty aquarium right now.
Well, that's good.
Yep. How was your week?
Yeah, it's been it's fairly uneventful. We're recording this on Friday instead of Thursday, so today was my oldest daughter's 10th birthday.
Whoa.
So, yeah, that was kind of fun. So I went and picked her up, and we hung out for a while and came back here and had dinner and cake and ice cream and presents. And I watched the movie Coraline. Coraline, whatever, Coraline.
Oh, Coraline, yeah.
Yeah, Coraline. I watched that for the first time. I'd never seen it before.
So any good?
Pretty good movie.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually liked it. I really did.
Might have to actually sit down and watch it. It's one of the ones that the kid likes, so.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. Same director that he directed Nightmare and he directed James the Giant Peach.
Didn't Tim Burton do?
He was the producer for Nightmare.
Oh.
He did not direct it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was really good stop motion animation. Really well done.
Nice.
Very impressed. And then, Thursday night, we watched SpaceX Makes History once again.
Yeah. Launched a reused rocket into space.
And landed a reused rocket.
Second time it's landed. First time being reused.
It was pretty amazing. What that company has done, going from absolutely nothing to this in 15 years, is kind of shocking.
Yeah. For something that only governments had done before.
Yeah. However, they couldn't have accomplished what they accomplished without the government as well. So,
yeah.
I mean, the frameworks that NASA laid down is just unbelievably amazing.
Yeah, and
between all the
having all the launch facilities for him to take off from.
The launch facilities, all the launch facilities, all of the trained engineers, all of the everything that they did in the 60 years of space flight or whatever, 50, 60 years of space flight.
Yeah.
That we've done up to this point. Yeah, it all kind of helps. But man, they set the bar, didn't they?
Yep. I'm excited. So I'm excited because from my kind of limited understanding is with this one being the Falcon 9 rocket, they have the Falcon Heavy rocket, which I believe is the one that has the potential capacity to make it to Mars.
Yeah, so the Heavy is like a modified Falcon in the middle and 2 on the sides. So it's pretty much a three system. So that will be used to put things pretty much further than geostationary orbit. Because right now, the Falcon 9 can put stuff up into orbit, and put stuff into geostationary orbit, but it doesn't have the power capacity to do much further than that.
Yeah.
So I think their plan is either third or fourth quarter this year to use the Falcon 9 Heavy for the first time. And then by the end of 2018, I think is when they're shooting those two dudes to the moon. Well, around the moon.
Yeah. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, that'll be kind of interesting. Couple private citizens throwing up money to go orbit the moon or to go slingshot around the moon and come back.
Heck yeah.
It's pretty ambitious for a company that's never put a man into space yet to shoot two guys past the moon, but
but you're talking about a guy who owns a company called The Boring Company.
Well, yeah.
He's got the ambition and he's going to pull it off.
Yeah, he does have that. But I guess it's, the moon's back in the news with a bunch of different groups right now. You've got China's talking about the moon. You've got Trump and NASA talking about the moon, although I'm not sure how slashing NASA's budget, not letting them hire anybody is going to help them get to the moon or Mars. But he can talk a big talk.
The funny thing was, he signed the, I forget what the actual bill was called, but it was essentially an authorization bill for funds. And they tried to make a big deal out of it, like, oh, this is what's going to send NASA to Mars. This is where all the money is. And it wasn't any real new money. It was the same budget and the same strategy that they've had for the last, I think, 7 or 8 years since the last one. Reauthorized it.
Yeah, it was an executive order reauthorizing. It was pretty much a big trumpet sound, and that was it. Because it was an executive order reauthorizing them to use the money they had set aside for it to set aside for it.
Yep.
It was very strange.
Yeah.
And then what's really frustrating is they'll make a big deal about that, but he still has the federal hiring freeze in place. So NASA has 143 positions open, and they can't fill them because they're not allowed to hire anyone. Because the federal government's too big, and hiring new people to do jobs is a really bad idea, including NASA. So there's a massive set of mixed messages coming from the White House on that. It's kind of frustrating. Being a space person, it's very, very frustrating. But on the flip side, we've got SpaceX doing their thing. We got Blue Origin, which is kind of doing their thing, but I'm not quite sure where they're going to fit into all this. So the creator, owner, or whatever of Amazon started his own space company as well, Blue Origin. And they were technically the first to fire a rocket up, land it, and then fire it up again. However, they've only done it with suborbital craft. So they'll shoot it up, they'll reach the edge of space, and then they'll come back down. They've landed it. They've been recycling it that way for a while, which is why during I don't know if you watched the webcast for SpaceX. Yeah. They made a point to say that it was the first reusable orbital rocket.
Yeah.
Is because Blue Origin was the first one to actually reuse a rocket.
Yep.
But they've got plans. They want to put a base on the moon down in the southern pole, because there's a crater down there that half the crater is always in sunlight and the other half of the crater is always in darkness. So they think that there's there's ice for liquid water on the shadow side of the crater, so they can have 24/7 sunlight for solar, and they'll have access to raw materials and minerals and stuff for breaking it down for fuel. And they want to put some sort of a refueling station at the moon.
That'd be awesome.
So that kind of looks like that might translate toward Mars at some point. But the only company that actually has any teeth in the fight right now for Mars seems to be SpaceX.
Yeah. And I imagine that's part of what the Boring Company is going to be, is once they get there, they're going to have to start mining the materials, and they don't even know where they are. And now he has this company that's just going to dig huge tunnels to actually. The idea was, he apparently was stuck in traffic in LA and decided, oh, I should dig a tunnel under LA to build more freeways. But I'm looking at it like, no, you're going to design all these insane machines to do mining that you're going to take to the moon and then to Mars, and then who knows where else after that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how it all fits through. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done before we're ready to put people in space that long to go to Mars, to adjust to the lower gravity on Mars and what the effects of the lower gravity versus the zero gravity or the microgravity, because it's not really zero gravity, the effects of microgravity long term and everything else. It's going to be very interesting to see how that all. It's definitely not going to look like The Martian, that's for sure.
No. I just watched that a couple weeks ago for the first time.
Oh, it's such a great movie.
Dude, I was amazed.
I thought it was very, very well done. It was unrealistic scientifically in a lot of places, but it was very well done.
Yeah, but yeah, it was exciting. I don't normally get excited about movies, and that one, like, I didn't want to stop. I had to watch it.
Yeah. No, it was a very, very good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's,
they have their stuff together before they get there and don't have to try to farm potatoes.
Yeah. So SpaceX is definitely making itself known, and they're trying to get contracts and wrestle contracts over from the ULA, and they want to be able to start utilizing the Dragon capsule for man, so that the United States doesn't have to send our astronauts to Russia and Kazakhstan to have them launch us into the ISS. So that's kind of how our people are. We haven't sent, the United States has not physically sent a human into space since we ended the shuttle program.
Yeah.
We buy seats on a Soyuz craft out of Russia. So
we might as well buy it from here. We can.
Yeah, so SpaceX is going to be doing a lot more with the Dragon capsule and trying to get actually people into space. Hopefully this year. That's kind of needed.
Did they say how much the trip around the moon was? Like, how much did that cost? No,
they did. I don't think they disclosed how much the people spent or who the two people are. I'm sure that will come out later on, but as of right now, I think they haven't said either of those two.
Well, as soon as it does, we'll have a new Patreon funding level.
Yeah, I'm not going.
Dude, first podcast in space. Come on.
Okay, let me rephrase. I will go. I will not be one of the first people to go.
Well, yeah, no, yeah. I'm usually pretty adamant about not being the first person to use a brand new piece of technology. with one exception. We'll discuss at another time. But,
your broken facial accessory.
Yeah. Not my mustache. So, anyways, let's say they do 5 trips. They get 5 trips in out around the moon. Dave, will you be my date around the moon?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll go around the moon.
There we go. Which, by the way,
I don't think I'll go to Mars. As much fun as that would be, that's way too much of a time dedication. They've got to shorten that down or give me a transporter.
Yeah, once that gets shorter, I'd be more about that. I mean, I would love to go. The current trip time just is not a possibility. But if they get it down, it's just like a few days trip, and we go there for a week and come back and not be gone more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'd do it.
But yeah, I'd definitely go around the moon. That'd be fun.
Cool. There we go.
A little tourist attraction to go around the moon.
Listen, there you go.
Heck, I would just go up into space orbit a couple of times and come back. I'd take a day trip and do that.
That would be pretty cool. It'd be neat to go up and see if the Earth is flat. I think, kind of, but I don't like to judge on things. I'm pretty sure it's not. You know, but like 99.9, probably 99.98% sure it's round. But
I'm absolutely 100% sure.
There's a bit of me in there that's like, I could really tell if I actually went into space. And I don't know if that's me just like, I want to go into space and I need a reason, or if there's a part of me that's like, I just want to see it for myself.
I think I want to see it for myself. I want to experience a launch. I want to experience an orbit, and I want to experience a reentry.
Yep.
Like, that would just be heaven for me. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that the Earth is round. That's been... There's so much proof to that, it's not even funny.
Yeah,
and
I've definitely been places where you can see a lot of curvature.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's... Yep. You can definitely tell. So... Yeah, I think I know that there was a Senate hearing. I want to say it was last year sometime, where SpaceX and ULA were ULA did not want to open up its lucrative contracts that it has exclusively with the government for military payloads, for Air Force payloads, for a lot of this stuff that happens. And it was, I will find and I will post in the description a link to that hearing, because it really shows ULA not wanting to give up what it had, and the way SpaceX is just charged up and forward. It's been very interesting to see the response there, and giving the government actually more options than just one for contract negotiations, price negotiations, all the clearance, all the try that again. All the certificates and certifications that SpaceX has to do to carry this stuff. And it's been very interesting to see that fight domestically, and then other countries kind of ramping up what they're doing with space. China especially. With
SpaceX having a reusable rockets is definitely going to bring the cost of going into space down by a lot.
I think Musk said a while back when he was talking about reusable rockets, he said like 80 or 85% of the cost to launch is in that reusable rocket.
Yep.
So being able to reuse that, well, because then you got the 9 Merlin engines underneath it, those would have to be thrown away each time because they get destroyed. That gets expensive really quickly.
He did tweet today that his next launch, he's going to try to bring those down and land them. Maybe in an attempt to try to reuse them. He did say...
Oh, the second stage?
Yeah, completely unrealistic, probably impossible. But he is Lex Luthor, maybe. So...
I equate him more to Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's one or the other, and I don't think we'll know until he controls more than we can handle.
Yeah, that second stage, though, isn't as expensive because there's just one engine on it. It's the main booster has 9 engines underneath, and that's what gets expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, but once he's got all the parts reusable, then he could go anywhere, drop down, and come back.
Yeah.
In theory.
In theory, that's how that would work out. But yeah, no, it's interesting to see space being highlighted yet again in big exciting times.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. Like in my lifetime, was there 3 shuttle launches? Definitely have never seen a man on the moon in my lifetime.
No, that was before our time. We saw the life of the shuttle.
Yep.
The complete life of the shuttle in our lifetime.
Yeah.
2 shuttle destructions.
Yeah.
Challenger and Columbia.
God, I remember that. That was horrifying. I was pretty excited about space up until that point.
Oh, I still maintain my excitement about space. I've been a very big space fan for a long time.
Yeah.
I've logged thousands of hours in Kerbal Space Program just for that reason. Way too much time I've spent in that game. It's unbelievable.
It was just like a, I don't know, weird moment. I didn't even know who the people were. I just knew they were heroes that were going into space in my head, and they didn't make it. It's like watching a superhero die in a movie. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
That's not supposed to happen.
No, it definitely wasn't supposed to happen. It was definitely a very sad time that way. Just kind of, but we pushed through. It never stopped us.
Yeah.
And that's a very good thing.
That's why, when Musk was trying to land rockets and he'd crash one, then he'd crash one, then he'd crash one, and everybody's like, oh, you're just going to crash them. And he's like, yeah, but we're going to figure it out. And we're going to figure out what's wrong.
Each time one would crash, it was for a different reason.
Yeah.
No 2 rockets crashed for the same reason, which was why I thought that it was going to eventually work, because once they got finished working out the kinks of why they were crashing, they'd stop crashing.
Yeah.
And they've pretty much getting it pretty well done.
Yeah.
I mean, landing a rocket is one thing. Landing a rocket on a barge floating out in the Atlantic Ocean is a whole different thing.
That is amazing. That is mind-numbingly awesome.
I mean, you got to think, this is a floating barge.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't even shoot a basketball and put it in a hoop, and these guys are doing that on a ridiculous scale, like kilometers, thousands of kilometers compared to.
They're taking a 20-foot wide, 14-story tall cylinder and landing it on its end. That's the equivalent of throwing a pencil in the air and landing it on the eraser.
Yeah.
And
insane.
Sticking it.
Yep.
Consistently sticking it.
Consistently.
Now, what's going to be fun is when they do the Heavy, they'll be landing 3 of them simultaneously.
That'll be glorious.
That will be amazing to watch.
So I wonder how much of the 9 is going to translate to the Heavy, if they're going to, if having all the kinks worked out on the 9 is going to make it buttery smooth for the Heavy launch and land.
I think so. I know that they are changing up the grid fins. They're going to be making them out of cast titanium, which will be the largest single piece cast titanium pieces ever. Because the aluminum tends to heat up and turn red and catch on fire on re-entry. So the guide fins are going to be changing. And I think there's some other back-end stuff that's going to be changing as well. But I think they'll still use the 9 Merlins. I mean, I think if essentially the Heavy, it's still going to be a Falcon 9 Heavy, I believe. I think it'll just use 3 of them, slap them all side by side, and shoot that thing up in the air with a payload on top.
Yeah.
Which will be the Dragon 2. Because right now the Dragon capsule just takes stuff to the International Space Station for their cargo, the CRS missions. Yeah, the cargo resupply missions.
It looks like the Heavy's just going to be the cargo carrying version of any of their rocket systems, because they also have the Falcon X, which is quite a lot larger. I wonder if that's the one I was reading would have the Mars capacity.
Yeah, I think I know they have a lot of stuff in development. So does Blue Origin. They have a Heavy that's in development right now that they haven't tested yet.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be interesting to see how Blue Origin and SpaceX and ULA and NASA, how they're all going to eventually play together, or if they're all going to be competing with each other.
SpaceX also has one titled the BFR.
Yeah, I think that was a working title for the Heavy.
That's a working title for the Falcon XX.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
That looks like a big. It looks like a BFR.
It does look like a BFR.
Looking at the comparison pictures between that and the Falcon 9, just
unbelievable.
Nearly twice as tall and twice as wide.
Yeah. So what do you think? Is this leading to Space Race 2.0 or?
Yeah. We'll see another moon landing soon, I bet.
I don't know if we'll see. I don't know if the U.S. I don't know who's going to win that one. I see this as more of still a space race between Blue Origin, SpaceX, ULA, and ULA mixed with NASA.
Yeah.
China wants to do some stuff, but I don't think they're planning a manned mission to the moon anytime soon. I know they want to send a bunch of robots up there.
Yeah.
I know Blue Origin has expressed interest in some sort of a base, but they're also willing to work with NASA. I think SpaceX wants to skip the moon and go straight for Mars. The only reason why SpaceX and the moon is in the same sentence is because of those 2 citizens. So, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be... I think that space is wide open right now. I'd like to see NASA do a lot more exploratory stuff as well. I'd like to see them get back involved some more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have private companies, but having a public company that is beholden to us and accountable to us is kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And
but
then,
you get SpaceX and Blue Origin is what happens when you have millionaires who are billionaires who decide they want to spend their money for the betterment of mankind instead of on themselves. And that's always nice to see.
Supposedly. I'm gonna postface that with supposedly for the betterment.
I see stuff that Musk is doing as betterment. Yes, he's making himself money, sort of, but
it is amazing, and I'm a big fan of him, and his work is amazing.
Yeah,
I love Tesla and the boundaries they're pushing. The fact that we have a new American-made automobile is amazing. First good company since the 80s, and I don't think he's going to go out in a blaze of coked out glory like DeLorean did.
No, I don't think so. Well, not just with Tesla, but what he's doing with Solar City and rechargeable renewable batteries, and it's just the stuff that he and his companies are doing is just phenomenal, groundbreaking work.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, he runs a fairly successful space agency. Because why not?
And helped get PayPal off the ground.
Yeah, that's where he got his money.
Yep.
So
started with a different company, and then started and sold that, and then started another company. Zip something.
I don't remember what all he did prior to.
But then that merged with the company that had PayPal as a service, and then the whole company just became PayPal.
Yeah. But
it's
been an exciting week for history, and it's an exciting time for space nerds again. Because this is really awesome. Looking forward to it.
If we could just get the new Star Trek to come out, it would be.
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
But that's about all the time we have this week.
Okay. We did come out this week as we have a merchandise. We have an account on Redbubble. We also have our Patreon set up and running.
Please make sure you check out the website. We'll post links on it also on Facebook, and I'll post links out on Twitter and stuff. So look out for that stuff, and we'll see you guys all next week.
Later, guys.
Late.